There's a gentleman that turns up in a book called Tom Wilmot. And in 1985, he sort of popped into the national consciousness as this celebrity stockbroker, having published a book on how you can buy and sell over-the-counter markets, which is a kind of unlicensed private stock exchange run by a broker. And he'd set up his own brokerage house, which he called Harvard Securities, a very nice and reassuring name, with a chap called Mr. M.J. Glickman, a Canadian. And they did exactly what you see, Jordan Belfort doing in The Wolf of Wall Street. They used these big public issues to sell to private investors who made some money, who started to trust them, and then they started to sell them things that were less worth owning, to put it politely.
Yeah.
And not only did they sell these things, they traded them on their own market. So there was a price you could see as an investor. You could see, oh, I've made some money and my portfolio is going up and all the rest of it. But really, what it was just the guys in Wilmot's brokerage just putting prices up. And
so they're setting the price. They're telling the investor
they're setting the price
is.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes. I think you're not allowed to do this. You're certainly not allowed to do this anymore. Whether you're allowed to do it in 1985 was another slightly controversial matter. And of course, he sold his own company to private investors as well, which made him a paper millionaire. He bought an 8-bedroom Bauhaus designed a chalet, or in this stockbroker suburb somewhere. He was changing his secretaries once a week, apparently. It's one of his colleagues said something like, he wants them to do instantaneous work, be a hostess and charming all at once. It's difficult work, or something like that. He was
delightful.
Just delightful character.
Yeah.
And he turned up to work in a bright pink Bentley. And his kind of catchphrase was
That's very 1980s.
Very 1980s, yeah. His catchphrase was say to investors, well, if the chairman of the firm drives the Rolls, you shouldn't invest in it. And if anyone pointed this out to him, he'd say, but it's a Bentley, it's fine. Yeah. And of course, in the crash in 1987, all of this came unraveled. Yeah. But you can't keep a good man down. And he started up a sausage business, and he and his chauffeur were driving around in this pink Bentley, delivering sausages to artisan sausages to pubs across the southeast of England, and with a refrigerator crammed into the back. And the city columns kind of reported on Wilmot's old banger, inevitably.
Yay!
Of course, the coda to this is eventually in 2011, he and his sons were sent to jail for a huge scam of a similar kind conducted across Europe.
Wow.
And the little final coda that I never squeezed into the book is that he turned up to court when he was being prosecuted for this, looking very scruffy, and he apologized that he was so badly turned out. He said his ex-wife had finally snapped and had burnt all his clothes.